Hello, welcome into the Starcast Remarks studios. My name is Ryan. I am the host of Starcast Remarks, and we are the official Dallas Stars podcast of the Hockey Podcast Network. Please make sure you go and use the promo code THPN the next time you go and use the DraftKings app. They are our sponsor for our entire podcast and the entire Hockey Podcast Network, and we really, really appreciate them allowing us to get a little bit and also get to do all this sort of stuff for free. And especially on a game like tonight, it's a lot of fun when that sort of thing happens, right, Chris? It's a lot of fun when a game like this happens.
Yes, is great response from the night before against Washington, especially after all the talk saying, "See, the Stars are only good against bad teams." Well, Boston's a good team, and we not only took care of business, we beat them handily.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that the Bruins were bad tonight.
They definitely.
I know that's
were.
funny to say. It was 6-1, but they didn't play bad. The Bruins did not play bad, other than just they couldn't figure out our forecheck, and they were constantly chasing back to their own net, which I thought we did a really good job in taking advantage of those things.
Well, the first half of the first period, they dominated. I mean, they were all over us. Their forecheck we couldn't get out of it. And then even in the second period, when we were up 2-0, the beginning of that period, they were pushing really hard too. So yeah, you're exactly right. They weren't playing bad at all. We just took care of them.
So, I mean, is that your biggest takeaway out of tonight's game? It is just the fact that, we got a little bit of puck luck tonight, maybe, and they didn't. And
not puck luck. I mean, it's the response. I mean, we came into this game knowing the Bruins are going to be a good team, and they showed it to us. I mean, the first period, they handed our butts to us, honestly. Like, they should have been scored on multiple times. And Ottinger stood strong there. And we come back with a good response, which is something the Stars definitely didn't do last game. There was no response at all from that team. And this time we show up, have a response each time the Bruins push, and take the game away. It was great.
Right. I got to I'm going to steal something from the CJ show on the SDPN network. And they do stick taps every Monday. I'm going to give a huge stick tap to Jake Ottinger tonight. Holy crap, that man was the biggest difference in the game tonight, even though it was a 6-1 game, and he got a lot of offensive help tonight. But it was definitely, for the play of Jake Ottinger, which allowed us to get to that 3 and 4-0 lead. Because at one point when it was 2-0 in early in the second period, Boston was like, dude, we're ticked off. Something's not going right. They had multiple chances. And Otter, stood on his head, and he was there to answer everything.
Yeah, 3 big saves in the first 5 minutes of that second period. Definitely right.
Right. So let's go ahead and get into just a little bit of the goal summary and just a little overview of the game tonight. Right off the bat in the first period, I didn't get to see the first little bit, but I do know I went back and watched it, and there was a big save by Otter on a 4-on-2. Mm-hmm. And it was, of all people, it was the person you don't want having the puck, which was Brad Marchand. And, Otter, and this is not the first time I would write his name down on my notes over here. I wrote his name down. It was a huge, amazing save by Otter there on Brad Marchand.
Definitely. And that was the whole beginning of the first period was Boston was attacking. They were forcing turnovers, and Otter stood strong, really. So it was a great start for him.
And it would continue on, and like you said, Chris, the Bruins definitely dominated, especially the first 6, 7, 8-ish minutes of the first period. They were getting some good forechecking going, and we were doing okay with it. We weren't doing great. We were doing okay with it.
It was the passing in our own zone was the issue. We couldn't get past their forecheck was the biggest problem.
I swear you were reading my mind. That was going to be my thing, but it does go the opposite way. Stars take it on a semi odd man rush. It was like a 3-on-3 or whatever, but it was a broken play, and Seguin is able to tip it into the net. He gets his 13th goal of the year, and it's I think they said a fortuitous bounce in the Stars' favor. So with that, Seguin gets his 13th goal of the year, and the Stars start with a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and they're calling it unassisted for now, which I don't believe that at all. Right. It's going to be Ben, and Gurionov is going to be the 2 assists because it deflected around a little bit, but he still passed it to him. So
and they
mentioned still a good play.
They mentioned this on the radio broadcast that at that point Ben had not ended his 11-game pointless route. So that he did. He apparently got the assist. It should have been an assist, I think, right?
Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
It's
I know
definitely
it was a
secondary.
broken play and everything, but it was
It wasn't that
still
broken.
you know, it was a pass from Ben to the front of the net. Yes, it bounced off of two Bruin sticks, but it still got to Sagan. And
Yeah.
he put it in the back. So
If
I
you
don't
can
know.
score
I
a
think
goal
it's a
with your
pass.
butt, then that has to be an assist. I mean, honestly. But yeah, we were
If
talking
that's
about
true.
that one's kind of against the pace of play, but it was the first time that we kind of broke out cleanly through our zone, moved through the neutral zone with speed. It was our first rush chance, and it was a good play. I mean, honestly, it was a good goal scoring play by Sagan to keep his eye on the puck and get it towards the net. So even though it's a broken play, it's a good goal.
So early in the period, the quality scoring chances, according to Owen Newkirk, were 3-1 in favor of Boston. But as the first period would move along, especially after that first goal, the Stars started to press more. And when the quality scoring chances were at 6-6 ish for both teams, um, Lindell passes it to Radulov. Radulov goes on a breakaway, and he gets his first goal, his second goal of the season since the October 27th game against the Vegas Golden Knights. Is this finally the thing that can finally get Radulov going, even if he just contributes in a second or third line option? Is this going to keep him, start him going?
No, honestly, I
You
don't
don't
think
think so?
so.
Even after an amazing shot like that?
No, I mean it was a good move and everything, but still, he's just not the same guy. I was talking to Ellie about it. I explained that a guy who's supposed to score for us but isn't has scored a goal, and she was like, "How much are we paying him?" I said, "Like $5 million," and
I
then
think
she
it's 6
said,
million actually.
"So we're paying him $2.5 million per goal," and I was like, "Yeah." So that's what it is. He's not a goal scorer anymore, honestly. So I wouldn't really expect it from him, but it's good to see, of course.
But he has looked better on that line with Peterson and with, I mean, Kiwi has been a good addition to that third line as well. And it seems, at least for tonight, it's the depth scoring that you want, that secondary scoring that the Stars are getting. And already, you know, through the first period, we're seeing it. I mean, hence Pavelski and Robertson have not gotten a point yet at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he has looked better, but it's still. I'm not going to try and get my hopes up on Radulov. He's had 2 goals and it's been half a season, so
Yeah, I get it.
I'm
That's very
not
true.
very hopeful.
All right, so the Stars take a 2-0 lead into the first intermission, and it was kind of a tale of two games there in the first period. The first was definitely dominated by the Bruins, and as the first period went on, the Stars definitely started to look better, and they started to get more offensive pressure. But what I wanted to point out in that first period is the thing that is successful in today's game is going off of the rush and creating chances off of the rush. And they seem to do that at home, but they don't do that on the road. And especially in some of these games that we've watched, you know, Bonus's system is all about, you know, dump and chase, go get it low, pass it up to the defenseman, have the defenseman take a shot from the point, and you know, get some greasy goals. So that seems to be his thing. But lately, it seems like, especially in tonight's game, that we didn't see that. We're seeing some, you know, very creative, very offensive minded plays, and that's what kind of drove the offense for the Stars tonight.
Definitely true. And I know this is going to be getting a little ahead of us, but that's definitely displayed in the second power play that we had. It was so much better than the first. It was night and day. The first power play, we're kind of standing still, just trying to pass the puck around. Second power play, so much movement. You weren't standing still, or if you were standing still, you were wrong. So everyone was moving the whole time. It was great movement. There was just no chance we weren't going to score. The entire first minute of that power play, I was like, yeah, it's going to go in. There's no chance they're going to stop it. So it was really good. Exactly like you said, lots of offensive creativity.
So in the second period, Sagan with an early chance, and it was a great save by Olmark, who I didn't think had a bad game. I mean, his team was not taking care of the defensive side of the puck. For a while at the beginning of that period, the Stars I put a note here, the Stars couldn't get out of their own D zone. It was that third line on the ice, and Otter with a big right pad save on Fogarty, and that was probably his best save of the night. And then there was a second Klingberg turnover of the period that I noticed, and Bergeron to Pasternak. And again, for the third time, Otter with a great save, and it's on Pasternak, who's one of the best pure goal scorers in the NHL. But it would go on throughout the second period. Robertson would shoot it through the crease in a crazy, insaneness. And it looks like that Haskin is the one that buries it, but it's actually Glendening's goal, and it makes it 3-0 Stars early in the second period.
What is Glendening doing on the ice right then?
No,
I was
no,
like,
no.
who's in front of the net? I was so confused.
I didn't even realize that he was the one that scored it until like the third period.
Oh, really?
I guess I wasn't paying attention to. I'm sure they talked about it, but I wasn't paying attention. I thought it was Haskinen's goal. I was like, finally, Haskinen is back on the score sheet in the goal column, and nope, no, not even. Oh well, but I mean, Haskinen has still been pretty good. Let's talk about him for a second. He's kind of cooled off since his Norris worthy start to his season, but I mean, he's still doing a lot of good things. But I feel like I'm noticing more. Some defensive miscues from him, and people more often getting around him defensively and skating around him, but he's still been pretty good, and he gets another assist tonight on that goal.
Yeah, him and Klingberg are quietly racking up a lot of points, but just not a lot of goals is what it is, really. And Klingberg tonight especially shows the duality. There we go. The duality.
Ooh, big word.
Yeah.
Big word.
I'm a college-educated guy, bro. Of his play. He's so good on the offensive side. In that second power play, he scored that goal. Even though he didn't score it, he scored it. It was the easiest goal of Rope's year. Mm-hmm. And then the very next power play, he gives up a 3-on-1 the other way. Like
right,
that's just the way. That's the nature of a puck moving defenseman. So you're gonna have amazing highlight reel plays, and then you're gonna give up absolute garbage. It's just gonna happen. So if you don't want that to happen, you need Ryan Suter, who's not gonna score as many points.
Well, he's still been pretty good for the Stars. I mean,
he hasn't scored as many as Klingberg or
right,
Hintz.
but he's not he's more of an all around guy than Miro Heiskanen.
You wouldn't call him an offensive defenseman.
Yes, you definitely wouldn't. If anything, I wouldn't call him a defensive defenseman either, because he still is on the power play and stuff like that. Yeah, he's definitely an all-around guy.
I think you're right, all-around guy.
So while you were talking about that, that leads me to this question, because this question kind of popped in my head. So recently, what we've been doing over the past couple of years is relying on our defense to help us, push the offense and score goals. That hasn't been the case this season. And especially with the first line scoring, 20 of 28 goals previously before this game or something like that. Is that a good thing for the Stars? Is that a bad thing for the Stars? Is that it's just a matter of transferring the offense from forwards to defense or defense to forwards? I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Because I'm kind of thinking this is a good thing, because you want your forwards to score, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's go to the basics. Who should be scoring the goals? The forwards. Yeah. So, yeah, in general, it's a good thing. It's not a great thing for our defense. You'd like for our forwards to score and our defense to keep scoring. That's the ideal situation. But, yeah, if we had to choose, I'd say forward scoring is better. But you can also see that with our win percentage. Our win percentage is way better right now than when we were forcing our defense to score all of our offense pretty much. So, yeah, I definitely think this is more of a sustainable kind of thing. Not 6 goals a night, but forward scoring goals.
Well, shoot. Hey, we could score 6 goals a night like the freaking Florida Panthers. I would love that and enjoy that, because then I wouldn't have to worry too much about the goaltending, which we've had to worry about the goaltending the past couple of weeks. But
past couple of games we haven't.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, we should point that out. Holtby had a really good game, and then the Stars, and then Ottinger had a good game as well tonight. So I mean, inconsistently consistent, or whatever I said the last podcast.
Yep.
Consistently inconsistent is what I said. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, just night and day difference between Friday night and tonight. I mean, two different teams. I don't know, but
yeah. And while we're there, let's just go ahead and get into it.
Go ahead.
Why?
I don't know.
Why is it so inconsistent? And we're gonna go back to it, even though not a ton of people hate Bones right now, but you got to think it comes down to the leadership of the team, which in its essence is the coach. He should be getting them ready for every game, making sure that they know that this game is important, especially not the next game, but the game right in front of you, all that. So that's where I'm coming down on the consistency side. Is it's got to be some kind of coaching. They've got to get them prepared, and they're not doing their job.
Well, I mean, we talked about this with the bubble playoffs, right? And we both kind of talked, well, all three of us really, James, you and I all said that this run was definitely pushed by the players. It was not pushed by Bonus. Bonus was there. He kept the system that Monty had in place, and that's why they were able to be so successful, because that system works for the Dallas Stars and for the players that they have here. Is that the problem right now? Is that just Bonus is injecting himself too much and when he just needs to back off?
Or maybe it's the
Is that
opposite.
thing?
Maybe it's the opposite, because when you're in a playoff situation, we had all those guys who really, they're getting down to their last couple chances. So they're going to get themselves ready every time. But when you're in the middle of the dog days of the season, I mean, we're literally smack dead in the middle. Like, it's hard to get yourself mentally focused every single game. And that's when your coach comes in to make sure that you are mentally prepared, mentally ready. So either way, it could be, but I lean more towards, because he's still like, players coach, all the players love him and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The only way your players can like you is if you kind of leave them alone, honestly, in my opinion.
Just let them
as
play
someone
hockey.
who has been coached, you don't want a coach that's constantly on you. So that's what I lean more towards, but you're still right. It could be the other way around too.
Just let us do our job, right? Just let us do our job.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That might be wrong in the middle of the season. Like, you need to inject yourself a little bit more as a coach whenever these
Especially when
games,
things are going bad.
when the games don't feel as important. Like, if you're in the middle of January, end of the season's 3 months away, like, who cares? Like, let's just play and see where we end up at the end of the season is what a player might be thinking. But as a coach, you have to find a way to make them understand that 2 points now is the exact same as 2 points later. And you got to keep them on track that way. So I think he needs to inject himself more, maybe even. I don't know. We don't know the dynamic of the locker room going on.
Right, yeah.
But
And
that's
I mean,
just
we will
speculation.
we will never know. I mean, maybe not for another 20 years. If we look back 20 years later and
See the documentary on the Stanley Cup winning Stars team.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, right? I don't think it'll happen, but we'll see. But let's just keep going with the game. Ben in the slot, 4-0 Stars. Great pass there by Tyler Seguin. He gets his second point of the night at that point, and it was just a beautiful shot, forehand shot to the corner. And I mean, Allmark had no chance on that whatsoever. I honestly felt bad for him on that shot. That looked like classic Jamie Benn right there. I mean, it like in the slot, in the right spot, and just put it in the corner, and no chance.
Well, and it's not just him trying to flip it around the goalie when he's in the crease. He's taking a shot. He's leaning on his stick and wristing a shot, like we've talked about for like 2 years now that he needs to do more of. He just needs to shoot, because he has a great wrist shot. Obviously, he went bar down and dusted the guy, so he needs to use it more.
And at that point, bye-bye Olmark and hello Jeremy Swayman, one of the more hotter, younger goaltenders in the NHL. He's a very good young goaltender. I believe he's 22 or 23.
Let me pull up a picture of him then.
Oh my gosh, you're an idiot. Dad joke for the win. So, and then I put this, I put this in my notes because I thought right after this goal, because I thought this was again very important. So far, no offense from the top line of the Dallas Stars. Yay, secondary scoring. Who knew, right?
Yeah. Well, kind of offense from the first line, but Luke Glendening was in there instead of Pavelski, but
it's a Mod Podge of players at that point. It was in the middle of a line change.
It's not the first line, it's a Mod Podge.
So, Ben, even after he gets the goal and everything, he would get the first penalty of the game for the Dallas Stars. It was a penalty, so we can't really argue anything about that. But it was decent penalty killing considering how leaky we've been lately. So it was very good. There were still too many passes that I didn't like, but they would get out of that penalty kill and would be 1-for-1 on the penalty kill.
But the big thing on the power play was we jumped on the puck whenever they didn't have it in their possession. So anytime it was a shot that went to the boards or something, hard as you can go to the puck, attacking the puck and making sure that you win the battle. And,
right, and I talked about that. I've definitely talked about this. I want to see them be more aggressive on the penalty kill when the puck is bobbled or when it looks like they don't have full control of the puck.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're like, on the outside and it's obvious that they've got a good chemistry going, then you take care of the lanes where where the passes are going to go through. But if you've got like, I don't know, if you got Charlie McAvoy up in the corner and he's up there and he's bobbling the puck, attack him, put some more pressure on him. Okay.
Yep.
And
'Cause
if
you
he
have
makes a
to.
and if he makes a brilliant pass, so be it. But the percentages are in your favor at that point if you go and attack him. And
'Cause
that's
you can't.
the thing that the Stars miss so much with the penalty kill.
It's because you can't stay in your zone for the whole 2 minutes. They're gonna score. If you stay in your zone for the whole 2 minutes, they're gonna score. You have to get clears,
Right.
and that's what they did this penalty kill, which was much better. It was still only one, so let's not get too ahead of ourselves. But it's a good start against a very hot Boston power play too. They were like 40% over the past 9 games. So
I think they're like 6th in the league, or they're definitely top 10.
yeah.
I know that for
But
sure.
recently
Top 10
they've
in the
been
league.
especially good. So
Mhm.
it was a good kill. Good job. Bad part is the Stars.
Yes, right. The Stars would get their first power play of the game on a Curtis Lazard tripping penalty. And Pavelski had a semi chance there in front, but not really. And there was a lot of good puck movement, but still there was no goal. And going into the second intermission, the Stars are up 4-0, and there's no real offense from that top line. I keep saying it because it's amazing to me that we got secondary scoring tonight. We get this kind of stuff every game, then we don't have to worry about that top line scoring for us all.
And it's secondary scoring, but to be fully honest, it's the second line scoring is what it was. It was Sagan, Ben, Gurionov, and they looked great all night long. And, you were saying, it was on.
Radulov had a goal tonight.
Radulov had a goal, but he had the one chance. Honestly,
hey, I'll take it.
Did he have any other chance? I mean, we'll take it, of course.
He did have the chance at the end of the third too.
At the end of the third, but
I guess it didn't really matter. Yeah, true. Never mind. I take that back.
The line that was pushing the pace of play was that second line, and it was on the rush. They were getting chances on the rush. They were setting up and getting some cycle going at certain times, but really it was that second line. And that leads me into the other thing I wanted to get into. I honestly didn't think the bottom two lines were very good at all night. I mean,
really,
the Radulov line was decent at least in the first period. They got the goal. Even then, that wasn't Kivy or Peterson setting it up. But I mean, the bottom two lines were in their own zone the whole time, pretty much. If you go back and look at it, they didn't have any kind of offensive zone pressure in a game where we were up 6-1. Where like, if there's a time to get offensive zone pressure for not the offensive lines, this is a game to do it.
Well, we go into the third period. Stars get another power play on a holding penalty for the Bruins, and then Hintz scores after a brilliant, we've already talked about it, a brilliant cross-zone pass by Klingberg. He kind of makes up for some of the defensive miscues. He still had more defensive miscues than good offensive stuff. But
I didn't see that many. You're still looking into it.
He still had a lot for me, man. But anyway, there's no chance for Swayman on that. Absolutely no chance. 5-0 Stars, and the Stars get a power play goal on their second chance of the game.
Yeah, and that's something you're going to miss from Klingberg. I mean, that power play, it was a good power play by everybody, but really it was all Klingberg. He played that so well, and that's where he's the best on the Stars, really, is him quarterbacking that power play. And it's something we're going to miss next season.
Well, and that's still assuming that he's going to be gone, which there's still a chance he resigns, but it's very low at this point. I think maybe 20% chance.
It would be crazy if he resigned, honestly, in my opinion.
Right, and I mean, it's not like
it might not be the right decision.
Right,
like if we miss the playoffs, no way he's resigned. So we have to make the playoffs, and then we have to come to agreement on money and term.
Well, I mean, even if and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but even if we win the Stanley Cup, does he come back and stay? I don't even think at that point he stays.
Yeah,
it's just very unlikely at this point. But I hope,
and then we have to agree.
Right, and we better hope that Thomas Harley is ready to play, because he's going to basically build the Klingberg substitute when Klingberg is or traded, leaves, whatever, signed somewhere else. So, but we'll get into that a little later if we want to. And then Razor says, they give up 5 goals against the Capitals, and they score 5 goals tonight. What a Dallas Stars thing to happen. And that just made me chuckle.
Yep, that is. He knows what's going on.
He knows, and everybody he knows what's going on, and he just can't say it as flippantly as we can because he works for the Stars. So exactly. It's just the way it is. But anyways, Craig Smith would score for the Boston Bruins, which ruins Otter's chance at a shutout. It always seems like he has a shutout ready to go, and then there's like a goal in the third period that ruins it for him. But anyway, that goal is Craig Smith, like I said, from Charlie Coyle and Jake DeBrusk. And that's the third line for the Boston Bruins, who looked good tonight, and they seem to be the only line that was consistently getting some offensive pressure, but that would make it 5-1.
Yeah, and it's sad that he didn't get the shutout, but he's got to save that one, dude. I mean, he
It,
was
it
at the
slipped under
top of
his
the
pad.
circle and it went under his pad.
Yeah.
Get down, bro.
Yep. Get in that butterfly. The star. I put this down too, but the Stars crowd was really good tonight. I mean, they were consistently yelling out there, and I think it was mostly because they were trying to drown out the Bruins chants, because there was a lot of Bruins fans there tonight.
I meant to say something about this too. I know there's lots of Bruins fans and Hawks fans and Rangers fans. That's just the price you got to pay for top 10 attendance. So we'll pay that price and we'll have high attendance numbers and have security that our hockey team will be here forever. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And it's because all those people moved from their own states to move here because their states suck.
Yeah, that's true. Texas is best. Everybody knows that, right?
Fact.
At least the people listening to the podcast who are from Texas know that. Anyways, Robertson would get a good chance after a turnover in the offensive zone, but it was saved by Swayman. There was a good shot by Pasternak and a great save by Otter there. That's like the fourth or fifth time that I've said Otter's name tonight. Stars power play. The Stars would get a power play with good pressure by Kiwi. But unfortunately, on that power play, there would be a 3-on-1 shorthanded chance for the Bruins. And then again, another Otter save, and that was off of Klingberg's pass that was intercepted. So I swear I'm not trying to look for these things, but it
that
seems
last one
like,
I'll give to you. The ones in the beginning of the game.
Really? Okay. But I don't know. It just seems like it's happening more. But and even Glendening would get in on some more offensive opportunities. He had a point blank chance, and Swayman said no.
That was a
and
huge
then,
save.
To make it 6-1 tonight, Sagan would score from Geary. It was, just simple little pass, and great shot.
That's what we need more of from both of those guys. Fly down the ice and go after it. Who cares if we get it set up? Get a chance on the rush.
And it almost seems like Geary has been his best when he's dishing the puck rather than when he's scoring, which is weird.
I feel like he's best when he's skating hard. I mean, I don't even think it's just dishing the puck.
So you don't think it's either way?
He skates hard and he goes around the edge. In the beginning of this game, he wasn't doing the get around the edge thing. And later on, he's flying down the ice and trying to get around defensemen. I'm tired of him like turning up and trying to set up the offense. That's not your job, Guryanov. You just attack the net with reckless abandon. That is your only job.
Just take it and go. This is something that I wrote down just because Razor mentioned it multiple times tonight, but it just seems like the Bruins just had to chase back to their own net, just second period on the last 40 minutes especially, and that kind of fed the Stars' offense, which was very nice. So I would like to see more of that, more off the rush, stuff from the Stars rather than dump and chase. And I mean that's okay, but it's maybe for the road. I don't know. Am I being stupid? I don't know.
What it was tonight is the Stars played perfectly their counterattack style that Bones likes. So the Bruins were super aggressive on the forecheck. You could see that from the beginning of the game. They kept trying to get that forecheck going throughout the game. But our passing was super crisp in our defensive zone, and we were moving through the neutral zone super fast. So we had at least even man chances going the other way. Most of the time, odd man rushes after we broke through their forecheck. So, and that's what fed all that offense on the rush, because they were trying to get after us on the forecheck and they couldn't do it after the first 10 minutes. So that's, I feel like that's why we're scoring so much on the rush on this one. And other teams aren't going to forecheck us that hard. I mean, honestly, I think they should have made an adjustment in the game, and it just really felt like they did.
And that's the final score in tonight's game, 6-1 Dallas Stars. And it's definitely a better outing than the game on Friday. It just sucks that the game on Friday happened when it did, because it was on Zubov's retirement ceremony night, which was really great, by the way. If you haven't watched it, it's on the DallasStars.com page. The entire ceremony is. It's like 41 minutes. Go and watch it. It's fantastic, and it's no other player deserves it more than Sergei Zubov. It just sucks that it took him 10 years to get into the hockey. No, it wasn't. It was almost 10 years to get him into the Hockey Hall of Fame. He deserved to get in way earlier. So, but specific players that I wanted to talk tonight. Otter had a fantastic game tonight.
Very good.
If it wasn't for him, I think this game is not as lopsided as it appears.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
definitely
looks
true.
like, if someone just goes and looks at like the box score and all that stuff, and it looks like the Stars just dominated the game from the beginning on out. And that wasn't the case. If it wasn't for Otter, this game could have been, 2-2, maybe 3-2, 3-1 at some
It could have
points.
been 1-0 in the first period,
Right.
honestly.
And he shut everything down tonight for the most part, other than one little shot that got away from him.
He played great when he needed to. When the Bruins pushed us hard, he was a brick wall, and that's what we need. We need goaltending in the times where it counts more than anything.
So let me go back here because I saw Eric's comment here. Hey, Eric, thanks for listening to the show. He put Jake needs 80% of the starts. Time to ride him. He's the future.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
At least 50%. I mean, if this guy's going to be okay, backtrack. We're putting in so much ice time into a goalie who's going to be gone next year in Holtby. Honestly,
Do we really think he's going to be gone though?
Yes.
I really don't think he's going to be gone.
If he's not, I'm rioting. If he's really that much better than Otter, then we're just in trouble in general. But I don't think he is. I think they're pretty much on par right now.
And Otter is just starting to live up to his potential a little bit more, and he's starting to develop even more as an NHL #1 goaltender.
Yeah, so it's good to have Holtby there whenever he has, say, 2 bad games in a row. Say he gets pulled in his 2 straight starts. Say that happens. That would be crazy. Then we have a great backup to have for whenever he needs a breather a little bit. But when he gets going again, get him back in there. Because, like, I know this team is still a win now team, but he is the future of the hockey club. I mean, we're not gonna have Holtby next year. We're gonna have Hudobin, but we know Hudobin's not gonna be as good as Holtby is right now.
So, and Miles has been commenting throughout the game as well. So, Miles, thank you for listening as well. He says the future is with Jake. When the team looks good or bad, Otter mostly keeps us in the game. Holtby often lets the game get closer. This game would have been 6-4 Stars if Holtby had played. I slightly agree with that. I don't think it would have been 6-4. I think it might have been 6-2, maybe.
It might have been. I mean, I see what he's saying because Holtby doesn't. It feels like he doesn't make the huge saves. Like when it really counts, when the other team's pushing, it feels like Holtby lets him in, and Otter makes those big time saves. It's kind of like when I've talked about before, where like Holtby isn't
clutch.
the reason that. Well, yeah, but Holtby's not the reason that we lose games, but he's also not the reason we win games. But Otter can be the reason that we win and the reason that we lose.
Yes.
So
yeah,
we got to get less lose and more win on the Otter side.
So anyway, we've been talking about the Stars crease for months now, all the way in
all year, ever since we signed Holtby.
Yeah, ever since we signed Holtby, and it's like, oh, we've got 4 goaltenders, and now we're down to
3,
2,
technically 2, yeah.
2. Yeah, I mean, Hudobin's on the taxi squad right now. No, he's not. He's back with the Texas Stars. But it definitely is Otter and Holtby, and that's exactly how we thought this would pan out. So we really need both of these guys going though. At this point, we really, really do. But what I would like to see for the second half, because we are basically dead even in the season right now. We're halfway through it. I would like to see one of those guys come out and really establish themselves as the #1 guy. And if it's Holtby, great. I'd rather it be Ottinger because this needs to be Ottinger's net, and everybody is pushing Ottinger because it's his net. It really is his net to take. But Holtby's there. But we really need to ride one goaltender when it gets to the playoffs.
Yeah,
because you need one of those guys to get on a roll. And if we have a chance for the playoffs, which I'm still skeptical about, one of these guys has got to go off in the second half of the season.
I fully agree with you on that one.
What I think.
Yep, and I think we need to give Otter more chances than he's had because the past, I guess, 8 games, Holtby has had way more starts. So I think it needs to be pretty much even, especially when they're both going well. And once one starts going bad, then you can start flipping the script a little. But yeah, I agree with you. We need to have one at the end of the season.
So, what else do we need to talk about tonight? Definitely, obviously, special teams was way better than it's been in past games. But I'll just go back to this because we need to talk about this more. It's the consistency word. It's the consistency word at this point. And we just can't seem to figure out with this team how to be consistent. And I don't know the answer to it, Chris. Is it Bones stepping out of the way? Is it like a way that they're planning it? Is it they play better at home than on the road? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, I did say earlier that it wasn't a consistency thing; it was a road thing. But we won 4 straight on the road. We came back against a good team in Washington when we should have momentum, and then we lay a goose egg. So I am on board on the it is inconsistency thing now. But yeah, I think, like I said earlier, the coaching thing is something that has to do with it. I don't know what the locker room dynamic is, so I obviously can't say much about it. But yeah, and the other thing is you've got the oldest team in the league. I mean, you've got to have some leadership there. If the coach isn't giving it, someone's got to take responsibility for making sure everybody on the team is ready and not just themselves. Because for us being an old team, we have lots of very young guys too. So we've got to find a way to get everybody bought in to games that don't feel super important.
Well, and we should mention this too, because this was an interesting stat that I believe it was Matt DeFranks that put out. But this is the first game in which Ben, Radulov, and Sagan scored since February of 2019. It's been almost 2 years since the three of those guys have all scored a goal all in the same game.
I was about to say the scorecard looks like a 2019 scorecard.
Right, exactly, right. And it's sad to say that those are the secondary scoring guys, but that's the difference in the game tonight is the secondary scoring, especially like you mentioned from that second line. So, I mean, I don't know what else to put about that, because that kind of secondary scoring needs to show up more often than not. And
if it does more often, so in the first half, we still have over half the goals by the first line in the first half of this season. If that line can keep doing what it's doing, which would honestly be crazy, but if they do, and we get that second line going, and we find at least some kind of pairing on this bottom two lines that works, we're going to win a lot more games in the second half than we did in the first. And we saw the graphic in the game that this was like the third best win percentage in the first half of the season in the past 9 seasons, which is crazy because we're not in the playoffs.
Right. That's insane.
So we're a second half team. Let's show it, hopefully.
Well, to throw some stats at you guys for tonight, face-off percentage in favor of the Stars, as it should be, 56-44. Stars go 1 for 3 on the power play, which is good, and they go 1 for 1 on the penalty kill. Hits were in favor of the Bruins tonight, 23-19. And then shots on goal in the period tonight, it was very even, actually, which is very strange. It was in favor of the Stars, 11-10 in the first, 9-8 in favor of the Stars in the second, and the same thing in the third. So final shots tonight, 29-26 in favor of the Dallas Stars. And you definitely can't look at the stats of this game and know exactly what happened, because the Bruins did not play this bad. They really didn't. So, hats off to the Bruins. They played a great game. They just didn't really get a lot of extra pressure when they needed it, and they ran into a hot goaltender in Jake Ottinger.
And the Stars played better.
And the Stars did play better too. So, okay, real quick, because we need to cut it off here for tonight. But, coming into a really important game on Tuesday.
This is actually a huge game. We talk about how the divisional games are 4-point games, but in the sense of the wild card, this is a 4-point game. The team right above us is Calgary. This could flip the script because Calgary's been in front of us for like 4 weeks now. So this could kind of flip that script, get them out, and get us into that spot. So
and they also have 2 games in hand on the Stars too. Exactly. They also have 2 games in hand. So if you're looking at the playoff picture right now for both conferences, it's very much like it's settled pretty much already halfway through the season.
But that's changed wildly so much. It really could change.
I don't think it's going to change for the East. I really don't. But for the West, there is about 4 teams that are kind of vying for that last wild card spot in the West, which is not good news for the Dallas Stars because they're one of those 4 teams. But they have a chance to really leapfrog the Calgary Flames and really kind of take control of their own destiny here. So we'll see what happens here on Tuesday. But you got to think that if you want that kind of consistency that we've been talking about, we need to see it now. This is not a better time than to see it now before the All-Star break.
And this is a thing about consistency that we can get to, because this felt like a big game because we were coming off of a terrible loss that was right after a great road trip that we thought was going to jumpstart the second half, and it didn't. And we came back, great response. You have to find a way to even bring more energy to this next game, because this next game is more important than the game that we just played. It really is. So it's going to be the first test of what we've been talking about.
Well, and we've also been mentioning how good the Stars have been on. Goodness, if I can talk, how good they've been at home. Yeah, in the last 2 games previous, they dropped a goose egg against the Capitals, and then they lost to the worst team in the NHL, the Montreal Canadiens, 5-3. So the fact that they came out tonight and said, okay, both of those games were flukes, it appears to be like that. So let's just hope that continues for the Stars on Tuesday, because I mean, I really can't stress how important this game is. And then after the All-Star break, how important all of those games are. So,
yep. But this one especially, I mean,
yep,
it's the biggest one so far, at least.
Yeah, and this is not even a divisional game. Before we get into the actual divisional games,
it feels like it though.
It definitely, it better feel like a playoff game for the Stars. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you got Calgary on Tuesday, and then you have a week off until you got the Nashville Predators on the 9th on Wednesday. You got Winnipeg, 2 against Colorado, 1 against Chicago, 1 against Arizona, Winnipeg, Nashville, and I mean, this whole month, this February month, is division month for the Dallas Stars. So we'll see how this goes.
See how this plays out.
Yep. So anything else we need to talk about, Chris, that I haven't mentioned tonight?
Joe Pavelski, Captain America, Captain of the Century.
Yeah, that's right.
For an All-Star game. Let's go.
Yeah. So with the injury to Nathan McKinnon, and man, that guy can't catch a break to save his life. COVID protocol, gets hurt a couple times, started the season on IR, can't catch a break, and he gets hurt again. So fortunately for the Stars, that means Joe Pavelski is the Central Division captain for the All-Star game. That'll be fun to see how that goes. But and that's a great honor for him.
It's a 3-on-3 tournament again, right?
Yes, it is a 3-on-3 tournament. So
might watch it. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe it won't be boring.
Yeah, maybe we should do an episode.
Who's doing it? Is it ESPN or is it TNT?
That's a good. I think it's ABC.
I
think it's ESPN.
Oh, AB. Okay, that might make
sense. ESPN, ABC.
I hope it's TNT. That way we can see Gretzky commenting on Ovechkin passing to Crosby. That would be sick.
Yes, that would be so cool. But I don't know. But we'll see. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it here for us tonight. I'm getting just so tired. I'm slurring my words. I'm not drunk.
Or you're drunk.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I swear. Drinker. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you for tuning in to the after game review for game 42 against the Boston Bruins. Stars win by a final score tonight of 6-1. Please go and use the promo code THPN the next time you go and use the app for DraftKings. Lets them know we're the ones that sent you, and we really appreciate that. Once again, along with Chris, I'm Ryan, and we will catch you guys on the flip side. We hope you have a good, fantastic evening, morning, whenever you're listening to this. Have a good night.